All right, hello and welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Obviously, the big story this week was the airplane crash, the midair collision, I should say, where you had an American Airline jet collide with a Black Hawk Army helicopter in midair. And the rumors went, crazy. And guys, I got to tell you, the first time I saw the video, it seemed like the accident, and I'm just speaking just forthright from my heart here. It just seemed like this accident was so avoidable that I had to wonder at first. Was this a terrorist attack? I'm just giving you my initial thoughts, and as more seems to come out. That doesn't appear to be the case, thank God. But it's nonetheless tragic. You have 67 people that have lost their lives, 60 passengers on the American Airlines plane, including some of the national skating champions. Apparently, they were traveling from Wichita, Kansas, back to Washington D.C. And so, just a sad state of events. And obviously, I'm so sorry for everyone on that flight and their families. Their families that I can't even imagine. Some people could have been waiting, at the gate, or to pick up someone from that flight, and the horror of having to hear that news when the people are just 400 feet in the air, traveling at about 140 miles per hour, from what I understand, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and you see this helicopter that is just going right for the thing. And my initial thoughts was, why didn't this helicopter move away? I simply don't get it. So the questions, there's still plenty of questions to ask. But as more information comes out, there's all types of things again, nothing is concrete, and we won't know for quite some time. But apparently, the airplane couldn't see the helicopter, and vice versa, or at least the helicopter assumed that they had the right. Speaking to the tower, I won't play the audio for you because it's really hard to understand. But it seems as though the military personnel inside of the Black Hawk assumed that they had the right airplane in sight. And if you go back and you watch the video, as a matter of fact, we do have the video. Let's run this video clip number 40, if we could, Gabe. You could see, let's see if it shows it in this video clip, that one of the air jets. Uh, I could imagine they saw one that was up high, but it's possible, at least some are speculating, that they didn't see the one as they were climbing that was literally right in front of them. And I don't know exactly what explains that, but I've had people tell me that, listen, it's certainly possible, just because there are some serious, blind spots when you're flying some of these things, and then you have air traffic control that's supposed to give you a specific warning if you have any type of aircraft that is in your flight path, so you can act quickly and divert. And from what I understand, there's mechanisms on board that'll show the pilot what to do, how to tip the nose up, down, which way to go, and in the event that airplanes get too close. So it's just really, really devastating news. Do we have that video clip 40, Gabe, of the crash itself? Let's play that. Okay, so from this, oh man, just so sad. From Oh my Lord. So I must admit, I've not seen that camera angle before. The one that I saw, you were looking at the airplane head on, as if it was approaching to land. You could see the helicopter flying, from the left, and it hits the airliner. But you could also see an airliner that was flying higher above at a higher altitude, where I'm assuming the helicopter pilot saw that particular airline. But nonetheless, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Trump came out right away, forcefully so, and he talked about DEI. Guys, I pray to God that DEI isn't part of it. And I understand there's going to be a lot of emotion behind this thing. I don't want to politicize it. But I do have to say, I do think we need to look at all angles. And I understand that the president doesn't want to be blamed for this. He shouldn't be blamed for this. But I also understand that that is common sense, and that is something we have to look into. I hope to God that that does not end up being the factor, the deciding factor of what sealed the fate of many of these people that lost their lives. Sadly, I just pray to God that it's not that. But I will say this: even if it isn't, this is an issue that needs to be dealt with, because if DEI didn't kill passengers this time, it might. It might in the future. You can't have unqualified people in these particular positions. Now, having said that, I don't know that it is that. Here's a story real quick from a Breitbart that I want to share with you, and that is hat tip Breitbart, one air traffic controller doing two jobs at one time when the crash occurred. So Breitbart reports that there was one air traffic controller worker on two different tower positions in the same time when the tragic helicopter plane crash occurred. The controller, who was assigned to helicopters in the vicinity of Ronald Reagan National Airport, was also, quote, instructing planes that were landing and departing from its runways. This, according to the New York Times, apparently. While one air traffic controller told CNN that one controller working two tower positions simultaneously is not uncommon, an internal preliminary FAA report obtained by the Times stated that staffing at the DCA and the ATC tower was not normal for the time of day and volume of traffic, quote unquote. So what is normal? Well, the source also revealed that the DCA's control tower was about 85% staffed, four people out, 4 out of 28 positions that need to be filled need to be filled. According to the most recent Air Traffic Control Workforce Plan, an annual report to Congress from 2023, the target for DCA ATC staff should be 30 personnel. All right, so there is, I mean, and I don't know how large of a role that plays, but apparently they were short-staffed. Neither the American Airlines jet nor the Black Hawk military helicopter that crashed into it over the Potomac River are expected to have any survivors. And guys, it's been a day at this point. If you're listening to this podcast, and given the weather conditions, given the temperature of the water, given the crash itself, I just don't see any survivors. And most of the professionals are saying that they don't expect to see any survivors at this point in time. So the total death was set to be 67. Again, you had 60 passengers that were in the American Airlines jet, 4 crew members, so a total of 64, 3 people that were in the helicopter. And last I heard, it was upwards of 30 people that were found. But this is something that simply cannot happen. I do want to say, I do want to say this. There were DEI standards, and I'm not saying the accident, we don't know. All right. But I'm not saying the accident was caused by DEI standards, but I am saying that DEI standards should be nowhere in the workforce, nowhere in our federal government. God forbid that played any role whatsoever, hiring incompetent people to do a job that really, where people's lives literally depend on it, is just unacceptable. And I hope to God, again, that isn't the case. Now, pilots will tell you that 90+% of the time when it comes to an airplane crash, it is the fault of the pilot. It's some type of human error that could have been it. I've heard that there were the Army pilots may have been operating with night vision goggles. I've also heard that there were reports that the smaller, or that the American Airlines jet initially was supposed to land on one runway, then got instructions to land on another, and there may have been miscommunication with the Army helicopter about that. I don't know. Time will tell. But this should never happen again, especially. And listen, I know it's always a risk when you're in a tin can in the middle of the sky. But when you're in an area, when you're about to land, something that is so routine, especially in areas like the Reagan National Airport, where I believe it's the busiest airport with flights coming in and out all the time. This is just something that can't happen. Just the News also reported a couple of more things that we need to be aware of. And again, only time will tell. But at least, at this point, at least 30 bodies recovered in the American Airlines Army copter crash near D.C. Also, they are reporting. Um, Basically there were months of near misses and safety warnings when it came to some of these midair collisions. The midair collision between an American Airlines passenger jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter over the Capitol was preceded by months of harrowing near misses. Now, I got to tell you, I almost forgot about that. But we were getting reports about that all the time, where we were having these unprecedented mid-air near misses, and for whatever reason that hasn't been gotten under control. Now everybody wants to play politics. The left wants to blame it on the Democrats, or I'm sorry, the left wants to blame it on Trump, despite the fact that Trump doesn't have his FAA person in office right now. But the bottom line is this has to stop. And I think we have the right people in office to make it stop. With President Trump there, you've got Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. You have Secretary Duffy. Now we need someone in the FAA. Eliminate all DEI, strict standards, no matter the race or sex. Hey, Carl Jackson here for My Pillow. For years, customers have been asking if My Pillow sells cross necklaces like the one Mike Lindell proudly wears every day. Well, they are excited to announce that Mike has partnered with a jeweler right here in the USA to create beautiful sterling silver My Crosses. So right now, you can save 30% today using promo code Carl, CARL, at mypillow.com. Click on the radio podcast square or give them a call at 800-858-0263 and be sure to use the promo code Carl. You can choose from the women's or men's style. The My Cross for women has a more delicate look and is reversible with mother of pearl styled translucent white enamel on one side and onyx styled black enamel on the other. The My Cross for men has a slightly larger cross with onyx styled black enamel and a slightly longer, thicker chain. So this amazing offer isn't going to last long. Order now. Go to mypillow.com. Click on the radio podcast square or call 800-858-0263. Use promo code Carl. And don't forget, there are so many deals available at mypillow.com. Use promo code Carl. All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jake Lang, the longest serving J6er. And when I say serving, I mean serving time, obviously. And one of the things that Jake shared off air, I wish we would have gotten this on air, but he mentioned before he left that he had an opportunity to share the gospel when his cellmate was an MS-13 gang member, lead him to Christ. He got an opportunity to share the gospel with someone that said they were a member of ISIS, or they were a part of ISIS, or inspired by ISIS, because remember, he was labeled as a domestic terrorist, and that's who they kept him around. I mean, just absolutely fascinating. So I hope you enjoyed that. Guys, listen, I do want to tell you there's a lot of wins that are happening, and I do want to make mention of those. I want to play a video clip for you, even though this may seem like a sad moment. This is a good moment. I may have to cut this short here, Gabe, but I do want to roll video clip number 35. The Laken-Riley Act was signed this week, and Democrats are literally, if you've watched the hearings, Kash Patel, the confirmation hearings, whether it's Kash Patel, whether it's RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, you can see Democrats are just, I mean, they are just fighting with the wind, so to speak. All they have is J6. All they have is 2020. They don't have solutions. All they have is hatred and anger and the same old, no solutions to help out the American people. So Trump and the administration has been racking up a lot of wins. And Democrats aren't used to this because it's normally what they do to us. It's sort of a shock and awe campaign. But this is a major victory for border security. And I want to play the video clip number 35, please, Gabe. Donald Trump signs the Laken-Riley Act and her mother responds. Cut 35, please.
We also want to thank President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken. And he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people. Most importantly, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his sacrifices, Laken's story would have ended on that horrific day that she was taken from us. But because of him, we can continue living knowing that we will see Laken again.
I I've never seen Trump get that emotional. I've never seen him get that emotional. Did you guys see that? Did you catch that? You could tell the tears were welling up in his eyes. Listen, you may not always agree with the guy. I don't always agree with the guy, but there's no doubt about it. This is a guy that kind of, he's so transparent, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's got some wisdom. He's got some rough edges, but he's transparent. He's real. He's got some convictions. He calls it common sense, but he's got some convictions. But here's the good news. All right. And I want to bring this full circle to some of the things that we're hearing in the confirmation hearings, or that you've heard in the confirmation hearings. But I want you to consider this Laken Riley Act. This is a major victory for the border, for border security in the United States of America. And I'll name some other wins, because it has been shock and awe, although I won't have time to get into great detail and specificity. But the Laken Riley Act requires federal immigration authorities to detain illegal immigrants or illegal aliens accused of theft, burglary, or assaulting a law enforcement officer. It also allows states, listen to this is so important. It also allows states to sue the Department of Homeland Security for harm caused by illegal aliens. The act is obviously named after Laken Riley, the young lady that was sadly murdered by a legal alien from Venezuela. Oh, and if you guys heard that video, or listened to the audio rather, it was just so horrific. So the legislation is part of a broader push by Republicans to strengthen the border security following the record crossings that we've had. And I think this is going to do a lot of good. Under the Biden administration, an estimated 8 million migrants. I think that number, I think it is severely underestimated. And illegals is the proper term. I'm reading from the Free Beacon, but illegals in my mind is the proper term. Not migrants. These people invaded our country, and I know a lot of them want the American dream, but you've got to do it legally. I know that not everyone is bad that comes through our border illegally, but every single one of them, as Caroline Levitt so rightfully claimed earlier in the week, broke the law. And it's as simple as that. But we've got bad guys that we've got to deal with. And now this law will not will make it so that states cannot be bullied by the Department of Homeland Security, in a sense, like they were when Alejandro Mayorkas was on the helm. Now, I would prefer that we totally eliminate DHS, but that apparently is not going to happen. So this at least gives states more strength in case you get another Biden in office, God forbid, where Biden staffers are running the White House. That type of administration, they cannot do the type of damage that they did this go around. And also with any illegal that's going to be stealing, this is brilliant to me, because right now, what Tom Homan, what ICE is doing, what the Department of Homeland Security is doing in conjunction with some of these other enforcement or federal law enforcement agencies, they're getting the worst first, as they're saying. But now with this Laken Riley Act, what if somebody pickpockets? What if somebody steals at a local 7-Eleven? Now they can be deported as well. This is a huge win. Real quick, I want to play a couple of videos for you, because on the Hill, again, in these confirmation hearings this week, all you heard about was J6, J6, J6. So just real quickly, I want to play video clip number 28 on RFK Jr. And I want to respond to that, because there were a bunch of hypocrites asking RFK Jr. questions. So let's do this. Let's roll clip number 28, if we could, real quick. Gabe, I hope this is the right clip. Let's roll it.
Bobby, this is an answer to my prayers. We need to get to the answers of this, but even more, we need to heal and unify this divided nation. I'm not necessarily the most optimistic guy, because we've got enormous challenges facing this nation, but I thought, wow, here's somebody from the left, somebody I don't agree with on many issues politically, coming together with President Trump and focusing on an area of agreement, something that the American people desperately want. Finding out the answers. What has caused autism? What is causing chronic illness? Ms. Kennedy, I think I've come to know what's in your heart. I think I know the personal and political price you've paid for this decision. I want to say publicly, I thank you for that. I truly appreciate what you're doing here. Can't we come together as a nation and do this? Can we do? Aren't you getting tired of this? I'm getting tired of this.
We'll cut it there. We'll cut it
So
there.
again,
It's
Mr.
compelling.
Kennedy.
I mean, it really is compelling. And he makes a great argument. Listen, RFK Jr. is on the left, all right? But Trump made it clear when he was in that Joe Rogan podcast, he's not going to touch this climate change stuff. Listen, I don't like his stance on abortion. I don't like his stance on 2A. I don't like his stance on climate change. But I do believe that we need somebody to shake things up, and I do believe that if he's going to point out the things that need to be taken care of, now he's not going to end Medicaid. He doesn't have the power to do that. That's under congressional authority, so don't freak out about that. But if there's an issue with our foods, if there's things that we can do, and I don't like government telling us what to do, but at least there should be labels, some recommendations, and I do think this is a win-win. I think that we should be able to question absolutely any and everything that we put in our bodies, whether it's good for us, whether it's bad for us, no matter what. So I think this is a good thing. Real quick, let's play. Was that cut 28? I wanted to play Kash Patel. Not sure if we have enough time to do this. What is this number? All right, I don't see it right offhand, and I don't want to call out the wrong number, so I won't waste time. But basically, listen, Kash Patel is going to be a wonderful FBI director. He is going to be confirmed. This is a guy that's been both a prosecutor, he's been a public defender. The left was trying to call him out, and hey, J6, J6, J6. But I want to circle back to that Laken Riley Act, guys. You realize that the left has the audacity to try to call out Kash Patel because they were trying to say he was empathetic to J6ers over police officers, which is absolutely insane. The guy's got the endorsement of over 300,000 law enforcement personnel across the country. But the bottom line is they're still trying to use the J6 narrative. And it's funny to me because the implication is Kash Patel is he's sympathetic, or he's empathetic with these domestic terrorists. That's what they want you to believe. But isn't it funny that these are the same people that said absolutely nothing about the border when we get that many illegal aliens in our country daily, and we don't know how many illegal alien criminals are. Right now, we're going after the worst of the worst, at least. And that looks like it may be at least 1 million people. That's not including the I think they're called special interest migrants. These are people that more than likely have a terrorist connection. So they have the audacity to talk about J6. Meanwhile, they're letting people in that will kill you, that will rape you. And then on top of that, you talk about all the people that were going off on RFK. Well, listen to this. Bernie Sanders got $1.9 million from Big Pharma. Raphael Warnock, Senator, $1.7 million. Elizabeth Warren, $1.2 million. Ron Wyden, $1.2 million. Michael Bennett of Colorado, $730,000. The list goes on and on and on. These guys are trying to question RFK when they have vested interest in Big Pharma. And we're winning, guys. They're mad.